Welcome to another edition of the Mesonet Weather Report. I'm Wes Lee. It was another week with great rainfall in parts of the state and Zippo in other parts. The 7-day rainfall map from Wednesday shows heavy rains from a line that pretty much followed I-44 and south. Training thunderstorms dropped 4 inches near Lawton and in a line from Durant to Mount Herman. Zeros prevail, however, across much of the state's wheat belt region. Much needed, albeit very small amounts, were also received in parts of the Panhandle. This continuation of mostly east versus west shows up well on this how many days since a significant quarter-inch of rain has fell map. Just looking at the contrast of red versus green tells the story. A few days since a good rain in the east and a month or more in the west. Don't forget about our Panhandle, which has now went more than half a year without seeing that significant rain. Soil moistures followed suit as expected. This 4% plant available water map shows green 100s in the east, while single red digits dominate the west. A little good news to end on the National Weather Service forecast map for next week. Most of the state is showing chances for above normal rainfall. We'll have to wait and see if that holds together. Gary is up next with a drought map that just won't go away.
Thanks, Wes, and good morning, everyone. Well, I have good news and bad news this week. The good news, the southeastern half of the state. The bad news, the northwestern half. What do I mean? Well, you'll see for yourself with the new drought monitor map. Okay, we've had pretty good relief across the southeastern half of the state, basically southeast of I-44. We barely have any drought left in the eastern 1/4 of the state, really to 1/3 of the state, but that northwestern half is really looking worse and worse all the time, with more D4 exceptional drought, more D3 extreme drought, and enough drought to go around for the state as a whole. And our spring thus far is supposed to be a time of storms, good rains, and whatever else we can find. Really not much of a lot of that, as we see in this percent of normal rainfall map for the spring thus far. All those reds, oranges, and yellows are deficits. The greens and blues are surpluses. So most of the state, especially that northwestern half, remain in pretty big deficits since the spring began on March 1st. Well, let's gaze into the future with the Climate Prediction Center's May through July outlooks, if we have to. They're not very pretty. For temperatures, we see increased odds of above normal temperatures across the entire state, but especially across the far western parts of the state and the Panhandle. So the worst hit parts of the state, looking for possibly a much warmer than normal May through July. Sort of the same picture for the precipitation. Increased odds of below normal precipitation across the northwestern, basically 2/3 of the state, but especially out across the Panhandle where we don't want to see that. And for the drought outlook itself, at least through July, the Climate Prediction Center sees drought persisting through that time frame. Now we just need to spread that good news across the rest of the state. That's it for this time. We'll see you next time on the Mesonet Weather Report.